Let's take a look here at the very similar diagram that illustrates ionic bonding. You and I already should know enough information about what generates ions of sodium and what generates ions of chlorine. So practically they would need to be bonded together in order to stay in the form of molecule of sodium chloride that is also known as the table salt. So here we are. We know that sodium is going to have 11 electrons, of which the 11th one is going to be circulating on its own in the outermost electron shell. If that electron becomes donated, that is practically gain for the sodium, because now it is left with a second electron shell, which is fully saturated with 8 electrons. So this third shell essentially became its valence shell, within which it had single electron, that is for donation. The chlorine is having 7 electrons in its outermost shell. It is really 1 to make it 8, so that the outermost, the third electron shell, gains stability. Obviously, we have here sodium willing to donate electron, and then we have also chlorine very much capable and preferring to receive such a precious gift. When this happens, both sodium as well as potassium are not in the atomic state any longer. They are actually their ions with a single positive charge, because there is 11 protons in the nucleus but only 10 electrons around. And the chlorine, which has 1 electron more, that's 18, compared to 17 protons in its nucleus. So the positive charged particle that we call the sodium ion and the negatively charged particle that we call the chlorine ion are now generating their own ionic bond, because as we know, the opposites are attracting. So this is now the electrical attraction that is developed with between single positively charged ion of sodium and single negatively charged ion of chlorine. So this kind of electrical bond is something that we can take and understand it if you have two poles of a magnet in your hand, south and north, and you bring them closer together. They would snap together because the opposites are attracting. But if you try to do the same thing with north and north pole, basically you would have some kind of invisible force that'll prevent you from putting two pieces of a magnet together. So this is essentially the electrical attraction that positively charged and negatively charged ions come together into chemical bonding, and this is what we call the ionic bond.